Blood was dripping from a little boy's chin when the story begins. His name wasn't Jamal anymore. Let's call him Caleb Rivers. 12 years old, tall for his age, a kid who loved spouting airplane facts and dreamed of Disney World with his mom and little sister. What should have been a magical first flight turned into a nightmare the moment a flight attendant lost control and shoved him face first into a metal cart. His jaw cracked. His tooth skittered across the carpet. And in that frozen second, every passenger went silent. Except one man. A silver-haired stranger raised his phone, capturing everything. Nobody knew it yet, but that man was a federal judge, and his video was about to change the course of this family's life and maybe even the entire airline industry. Caleb's mom, Monica Rivers, had worked double shifts as a nurse, saved every penny for 3 years to make this trip happen. She promised her kids Disney magic. Instead, she was sitting on the floor of an airplane pressing cocktail napkins against her son's bleeding mouth, while a flight attendant claimed, "He attacked me first." Monica knew the script. She'd lived through the ugly whispers of bias all her life. But now it was playing out in front of her children, 35,000 feet in the air, where the rules were tilted and the power sat in a uniform. The cruelty didn't come out of nowhere. From the moment they boarded the woman in that uniform. Stephanie Doyle. 15 years in the job. Bitterness baked into her smile had made it clear the Rivers family didn't belong. She skipped their row during drink service, slammed water cups down so they spilled across their tray tables, muttered about safety hazards when turbulence knocked things over. Monica tried to keep her voice calm, protect her children from the sting of what was really happening. But kids notice. Caleb had noticed when his science teacher once implied he was only in the gifted math program for diversity points. He noticed now when his mom whispered, "Sometimes people forget," even though it was obvious. Nothing had been forgotten at all. And then came the spark. Little Sierra. Just 8 years old, whispered urgently, "Mommy, I need the bathroom." The seatbelt sign was off the lavatory light green, but Stephanie parked her cart in the aisle and barked, "You'll have to wait." Monica pleaded softly, "She's a child. It's an emergency." The answer, "Use the forward lavatory." Except the cart blocked the way. Sierra squirmed near tears. Caleb couldn't stand watching his sister suffer. He unbuckled, stepped into the aisle, and in a moment of turbulence brushed Stephanie's arm. Her reaction was volcanic. "Don't you dare push me!" she screamed and shoved Caleb so hard his face met steel. Blood gushed. Chaos erupted. Monica screamed. Sierra wailed. And Stephanie, shaking but quick thinking, pointed at the boy and declared, "He attacked me." Everyone saw it. Some passengers nodded. Others shouted back that she was lying. And in the middle of it all, that quiet man in row 21 kept recording. Later, we'd learn his name. Judge Marcus Ellison. 3 decades on the federal bench, calm, watchful, and unwilling to stay silent. The plane diverted to Atlanta. Paramedics waited on the tarmac. But when police boarded, they didn't rush to Caleb. They went straight to Stephanie. She spun her story, painted herself the victim, and before Monica could speak, an officer was eyeing her bleeding son like a suspect. "Assaulting a flight attendant is a federal offense," he said flatly. Monica's voice shook. "My son is 12. Look at him." The officer's hand hovered near his taser. That's when Judge Ellison stood towering, his voice carrying the weight of authority. "I am a federal judge. I witnessed and recorded the entire assault. Your priority should be medical care for this boy." That broke the spell. Paramedics moved. Caleb was stretchered out, but the fight was only beginning. At the hospital, surgeons wired Caleb's jaw shut in 3 places. While Monica clutched her daughter, an airline representative arrived with a polished smile and an envelope. $5,000 for your inconvenience, he offered, sliding a non-disclosure agreement across the table. Monica stared at him in disbelief. "My son's jaw is broken, and you call this an inconvenience?" Judge Ellison stepped in again, telling her quietly, "That's not justice. That's silence." Enter Daniel Brooks, a civil rights attorney with fire in his voice and patience in his eyes. He'd seen the judge's video, knew instantly this wasn't a customer service complaint, it was a civil rights case. The airline will paint your son as disruptive, he warned Monica. They'll dig into your past, twist facts. But we have evidence, and if you're willing to fight, we can do more than win damages. We can change the system. The airline hit back hard. Early headlines ran with Stephanie's version, juvenile assaults flight attendant splashing Caleb's school photo beside her polished headshot. Commentators debated whether the boy was raised right. Monica's own hospital employer warned her not to speak out, hinting her job was at risk. Threats arrived at their home, slurs spray-painted on the garage. And yet support grew too. Passengers posted videos online. Hashtags trended. Justice for Caleb. The airline's stock plummeted. Then came the whistleblower. A former flight attendant revealed internal systems that categorized passengers by service optimization code words for race, class, and language. Caleb's family hadn't just been mistreated by one bitter employee. They'd been slotted into a lower tier of humanity by design. That revelation cracked the case wide open. The airline tried raising their offer $15 million, then 25-plus promises of reforms and resignations. Monica showed Caleb the numbers, thinking of college of bills. Caleb, writing on a whiteboard with his wired jaw, scrawled 3 words. It's not money, it's truth. So they went to trial. And the video, Judge Ellison's unflinching footage, played across a packed courtroom. Every slight, every refusal of service, the final shove into steel. The jury didn't deliberate long. Stephanie was convicted of felony assault. The airline was found liable for systemic discrimination. Damages reached record numbers. And for once, silence wasn't bought. But the real victory wasn't just legal. Months later, Caleb stood on a school stage, jaw-healed scar faintly visible when he smiled. Before this happened, he told his classmates, "I thought racism was just mean words. Now I know it can be hidden in rules and policies and how people treat you when they think no one's watching. But I also know this, the truth matters, and one voice can change everything." The family finally made it to Disney. Sierra clutched a new princess doll. Caleb rattled off airplane facts again, reclaiming the joy he'd almost lost. And tucked into every seat back pocket on that airline, and eventually every major carrier, was a new card, a commitment to equitable service, a quiet acknowledgement that their case had shifted the skies. Now here's the question I want to leave with you. If this were your child, would you have taken the money and moved on, or fought like Monica and Caleb did, risking everything for truth? And have you ever been in a moment where someone stood up for you, or maybe you stood up for someone else when it really counted? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me what justice looks like to you. And if this story moved, you hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs reminding. One act of courage, one voice refusing silence, can start a movement that changes everything.